How's it going, everybody? It is your boy, Too Spooky here. And would you look at that? Today is Friday the 13th. And because of that, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually quite a big fan of horror movies. There's plenty that I love and adore, and plenty that I hate with a burning passion. As your standard horror fan, at one point I've obviously watched every single one of the Friday the 13th movies, and considering today's date, we're going to be tearing apart the worst one by far. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. The Final Friday, huh?
So that was a fucking lie.
So a little background for this one before we jump in. Jason Goes to Hell came out in 1993 and was directed by Adam Marcus. Adam was quite young at the time, being only 23, and with the rights to Jason Voorhees being transferred from Paramount Pictures to New Line Cinema and another whole whirlwind of circumstances, Adam was looking to bring a completely new direction to the franchise while still keeping a lot of the elements fans grew to know and love. Was this new direction successful? Well, let's find out. So the movie begins on kind of a slow burn, following what appears to be a female teenager heading up to good old Camp Crystal Lake, building the tension as we just wait for Mr. Voorhees to show his ugly mask. And sure enough, just to tempt him out of the woodwork, this girl ends up getting naked. Don't you know that's illegal, ma'am?
There he is!
So Jason chases her around for a minute before some giant lights illuminate him in the open, out of nowhere, and he gets completely obliterated by the f***ing FBI. Okay, hang on. I need to butt in here for a second. This video is obviously going to contain a lot of spoilers for the Friday the 13th franchise as a whole, so if you care about spoilers for any of this junk, get the heck out of here. But anyway, first off, Jason getting lit up into a pile of body parts by the feds, pretty darn cool, but something clearly isn't right here. So last time we saw Jason, he was dissolving into a pile of goo in the Manhattan sewers. How in the darn heck does this man even have a body again? The reason why this doesn't make any f***ing sense, apparently there was supposed to be a comic that bridged the gap between Jason getting his body back and his killing spree all the way back to Camp Crystal Lake, which obviously takes place before the events of this film and is also supposed to explain why the FBI is after him in the first place. After this, Jason's body is taken to some lab to be autopsied. A little fun fact is that this security guard right here is Kane Hodder, the actor who plays Jason in this movie, or plays him most of the time. You'll see what I mean. This autopsy scene takes forever because they severely pad out the opening credits. Another fun fact would be that apparently while filming this movie, nobody was checking to see if any of the shots were actually usable. They would just shoot the scene and immediately move on to the next one.
Good, got it, great, good.
So once it came time to edit the film, they realized they only had like 45 minutes of usable footage, causing a lot of reshoots, some things removed completely, some things moved around, and overall requiring the film's length to be drug out a lot. During the autopsy, Jason's heart suddenly starts beating, and naturally, as this man was starving, he deep throats it on the spot, leading to Jason's soul taking over this guy's body, I guess. Which, okay. This leads to this weird plot point where so many people think Jason is dead now, but he's obviously back at it again with a fresh coat of paint. And this is where we get introduced to Creighton Duke, a bounty hunter who apparently knows a lot about Jason, and how to truly kill him for that matter.
I'm going to say two words to you, Mr. Duke, and I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
Jason Voorhees.
Well, that makes me think of a little girl in a pink dress, sticking a hot dog through a donut.
Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? We'll be talking more about this chump a little later, because I got a lot more to say about him. But basically his role in the film is hunting Jason, but only if he is paid $500,000 to do so by this network. We then cut to a diner, where Duke is harassing this lady named Diana, saying that Jason is gonna come after her and her daughter, which is, unfortunately, really important for later, and after a brief confrontation, Diana sits next to her daughter's baby daddy, apparently, whose name I already fucking forgot. Okay, it was Steven, and she tells him to meet her later that night because she has to tell him something. Fast forwarding a bit, Steven is heading over there when he picks up some teenagers hitchhiking on their way to good old Camp Crystal Lake, where not Jason has already returned to. Do I even need to explain what happens next? Girl, you know better than this. Taking a piss That's illegal. Not you too. And not using a condom for unsafe premarital sex? You're practically asking for Jason to murder you, you fucking idiot. Jason then makes his way over to where Diana works with his teleportation powers, but misses her by just a minute, and instead sets his eyes on an officer who happens to be present. He takes this officer to what is apparently the old Voorhees home, and straps him down and starts shaving him? Excuse me? What the fuck is this? Anybody want to explain what the fuck is going on here? Because I have many questions. The ruthless killing machine suddenly kidnaps people instead of killing them, and cares about personal hygiene. He gives this guy the suck, and then we skip to the next scene. Diana then has a call with her daughter Jessica, who is Steven's baby mama, when suddenly not Jason ruthlessly attacks her. Okay, now that's just plain corny. But luckily, Diana is
packing heat.
Imminent. What?
What is that? What the fuck is that?
And Steven shows up just in time to help, but through the struggle, Diana is killed. She tries to tell Steven something before passing on, and another officer arrives on the scene, thinking he caught Steven in the act because not Jason teleported away at some point. Steven gets taken to jail, and Diana's daughter Jessica arrives in town with her boyfriend, that host from earlier who made the deal with Duke to reward him if he kills Jason. While in jail, Steven gets put into a cell next to Duke, and this is where we find out Duke is kind of a huge asshole, as he obviously knows that Steven didn't kill his baby mama's mother. But as far as the information on why he knows that, Duke says it's going to be a bit costly. Oh, and what is the cost, you might ask? You know, just breaking Steven's fingers one by one for fun. What a swell guy! The plot dump that Duke gives to this man. This is where shit starts to get whack. Jason was apparently after Diana because she is a Voorhees. And now that she's dead, the only two remaining Voorhees are therefore Jessica and their baby. Now you might be wondering, why does Jason want to go after the other Voorhees specifically? Does he want to, like, exterminate his family lineage or something? No, it's much worse. Apparently, Jason body hopping will not last, and the only way to restore himself officially and be reborn is to put his black slug self into a Voorhees. And the only way for Jason to be killed for good is by the hands of a Voorhees. Hey buddy, you just blowing from Stupid Town? Okay, hang on. We need to back up here. This is why this movie pisses me off so much. Now, I can't justifiably explain why, but after sitting through 8 of these fucking films, the lore of these movies suddenly matters to me. And this film fucks it all up. In the first movie, Jason's mother is killing everybody because they let her son die. And frankly, I know that Diana is supposed to be like Jason's half-sister or something, like from his dad's side. I don't fucking know. But assuming that's wrong, and Pamela actually had a second child, it's weird to me that she would go around killing everybody if she actually still had a child at home, you know? But maybe that's just a mother-son thing. Then in the second movie, we find out Jason is actually alive, but he's like a murderous hillbilly. Then he transforms into the hockey mask-wearing icon over the next 2 films, where he also dies. Then he comes back in the 6th movie as a fucking zombie, and he stays a zombie until he gets melted in Manhattan. So at what fucking point did he become a slug monster that is cursed by his bloodline or some shit? Like, what is this bullshit? And even more than that, why do I care? Anyway, Steven breaks out of jail and tries to go find his daughter who got taken to that diner Diana used to work at before heading to the old Voorhees house to check it out. And while scuttling around, he comes across something that might be a little familiar. The fucking Necronomicon from the Evil Dead series. So although this isn't mentioned in the film, apparently this little Easter egg was supposed to directly connect Friday the 13th to the Evil Dead franchise. Because apparently at some point, Pamela was supposed to have found the fucking Necronomicon, the Book of the fucking Dead, and she used it to bring Jason back to life, making him a Deadite. Like, I absolutely adore the Evil Dead series. But no! Just no! Why do I care so much about the continuity of Friday the fucking 13th? I will never know. While stumbling around the house, that host from earlier shows up to prepare the place for filming regarding a special about Jason. And this scumbag also apparently stole Diana's body and planted it at the house for his show. This is important for later. Not Jason then barges in and takes this dude's body. Now that's karma. And through this, we see what happens to the previous host body after Jason swaps over. And those melting effects are pretty darn cool and horrific, I have to admit. Skipping ahead, not Jason goes after Jessica, but is rescued by Steven, who followed him there. Although, to be honest, instead of being rescued, this probably comes off more like kidnapping. I mean, how would you feel if your ex-baby daddy rolled up out of nowhere, yeeted you into a car, and then ran over your fucking boyfriend? I'd be pretty shook too, and also leave this deadbeat in the middle of nowhere. To quickly skip ahead and summarize the next events, everyone important ends up at the police station for a showdown. And through this, Jessica and Steven escape to go get their daughter, and Duke manages to break himself out too. Not Jason then follows them to the diner, where another showdown takes place because the diner employees are packing some serious heat. Can I get an F in the chat for this poor dude in the back just getting capped in the crossfire, by the way? Everyone gets killed, yada yada. Duke kidnapped the baby while all that was happening instead of, you know, helping, and he left a note for Jessica and eventually Steven to show up to the old Voorhees house. When Jessica gets there, Duke tries to vaguely explain why he now needs Jessica's help to put Jason down, before throwing her his knife that magically transforms into a special Voorhees killing dagger. Bruh. So two cops from earlier eventually show up, and Duke falls through the floor so he can't help. The thing is, Jason is obviously one of these two cops, but both of them are talking like normal people, instead of acting like homicidal, mindless zombies. So Jason suddenly learned how to act like a normal fucking person? What? Excuse me? Jessica kills the wrong officer, and then Officer Jason attempts to slugmouth the baby. That's a sentence I never thought I would say. But Steven runs in, machete ready to save the day, which reveals Jason's true form. He's a fucking demon alien thing the size of a New York sewer rat. I guess Manhattan really changed him after all. Rat Jason falls into the basement. And there's a little problem. Remember how Diana's dead body was planted at the house earlier? Welp, this happens. Can we even show this on YouTube? Jason then bursts through the floor, completely reborn as his hockey mask zombie self. Somehow. I know earlier I said that Jason was like a crazed hillbilly in the past, but this is some next level yeehaw shit. Anyway, they scramble to get the dagger when Duke steps in.
Son of a bitch, you remember me?
Do we remember you? No! Nobody does! Who the fuck are you?
I don't think you really know who I am.
Alright, here's where we're gonna talk about Mr. Duke here. So clearly this guy should have some serious history with Jason if he knows all this information about how to kill him and whatnot. Yet, we've never seen this guy up until now, after 8 fucking films. Apparently the reason why he is such a mystery man is because he was supposed to have his own backstory in the film, but it was cut. And in that backstory, apparently his girlfriend was killed by Jason right in front of him at Camp Crystal Lake. And Duke has been trying to find a way to kill Jason for good ever since. Had Jason Goes to Hell been more successful, Duke apparently would have had his own spin-off film that went way more in depth with his backstory and his history with Jason up to this point. Fun fact, Steve Williams also only agreed to play Duke if he could dress as a cowboy, hence the drip. And the final bit of information regarding this man would be that Steve apparently flashed a lot of people on the set of this film, so he's also a sex offender. Duke gets bear-hugged to death, and Steven steps up to distract Jason so Jessica can get the dagger. During this scene, I just want it to be known that Jason literally just broke Duke's back with his brute strength, and earlier he squashed someone's head like a melon in between a strong girl's thighs. Yet here, he just toys around with Steven for no apparent reason whatsoever.
Sorry, I just think I'm too stupid to understand this.
I just don't get it, man. Jason is so inconsistent this whole film, and it pisses me off so much, and I don't know why I care. Why do I care? Jessica then flies in before it's too late and sends Jason to hell for real. Way to spoil the ending of the film in the fucking title, by the way. Then Jessica and Steven take their daughter and run off into the sunset. Oh, and before we actually end the film, Jason's mask gets pulled under the ground by Freddy Krueger's claw, hinting at the forever in development Freddy vs. Jason crossover. That would actually end up coming out like 12 years later, but it was stuck in development hell for a long time. So yeah, I hate this movie. It has a lot of really cool practical effects for a lot of the kills and whatnot, I will admit. And I do respect that they tried to do something different. But goddamn, does this movie suck and literally ruin everything about the franchise. It sucks eggs out of 10. If you're wanting more of this abomination, my friend Tensa actually made a really great review of this film that I highly recommend, as he does a much better job explaining the plot of this film among other things. So click the card in the top right hand corner to check it out. But I'm out of here. Thanks for suffering with me, and I'll see you all soon with the next video.